my name is Maddie, and this is my presentation on the connection between wash and malnutrition. To start, these are just a couple facts I found from the readings this week. So, malnutrition is caused not just by a lack of food, but clean water is essential for whether children get the nutrients they need to survive. When water is unsafe to drink, cook with, or wash with, it can trigger a dangerous cycle that prevents the body from absorbing the nutrients it needs to survive. And according to the World Health Organization, diarrhea is the leading cause of malnutrition in children under 5, and it's the third leading cause of death globally. A lot of diarrheal diseases are because of a lack of clean water, sanitation, and hygiene practices. So I did find a graph on the prevalence of malnutrition globally. As you can see here, progress in reducing stunted growth for children has been improving for years, but you can kind of see that it has now stopped and is no longer improving, and in fact, it's going up. At the same time, though, the number of overweight children hasn't changed, and there are 8 million fewer children who are dangerously underweight than there were in 2012. So you can see in 2014 that these have all kind of started to grow up or slow in progress. So I like to think of malnutrition and illness as a cycle. For example, illness leads to malnutrition because of continued exposure to unclean drinking water, increases the risk of recurring illness, weakens the body over time, and increases the risk for malnutrition. This is especially important in young children because their bodies and immune systems are still developing, so the risk is more severe. And then malnutrition leads to illness because vitamins and minerals are essential for the immune system to function, and the body depends on a steady intake of those nutrients to defend itself against infection. So, malnutrition also causes inflammation that weakens the immune system, which reduces the body's ability to produce immune cells and antibodies to fight infection. And just a little bit more specific, diseases such as diarrhea can cause the body to rapidly lose fluids, electrolytes, and essential nutrients. So even if a child has eaten enough food, these nutrients may be flushed out before the body can even use them. And in this kind of graphic, you can see that when a child becomes sick, then they become malnourished, and then they become sick again, and it's kind of an ongoing cycle. So I did find a case study in rural Ethiopia where scientists investigated the association between WASH and acute malnutrition. A lot of what we talk about this week in the readings and stuff was looking at chronic malnutrition. So these scientists used the Ethiopian Demographic and Health Survey and studied 7,209 children aged 6 to 59 months of age in rural Ethiopia, and they found that acute malnutrition was higher among children from households with access to poor toilet facilities and who also needed to walk more than 60 minutes to fetch water. More than half the rural Ethiopian children made use of an unsafe source for drinking, and almost 95% made use of a poor toilet facility. So, a total of 867 of the 7,209 children, roughly 12%, were classified as wasted by the World Health Organization standards. And of that 12%, 26.4% had diarrhea 2 weeks before the data was collected. How can WASH improve nutrition? WASH improves nutrition by preventing infections like diarrhea and EED that can cause nutrient loss and malabsorption, and proper sanitation prevents fecal oral disease transmission, while hygiene practices such as hand washing and safe water use in food prep directly ensure nutrient uptake. And here are my references. Thank you.